You ready to go over it?
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to go over the warm-up?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, so we've got a couple of linear equations here. I know you guys have covered the point-slope formula. I'm sorry, the slope-intercept formula. And so what's the first thing we did for number 1? What did we identify first? We identify our y-intercept. What is our y-intercept for number 1? -1. I heard it. Good. My y-intercept is -1. So I've got y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept is b. And I'm going to plot it right there at -1. And then what do I need to identify next? I have my y-intercept. How else do I need to graph this? Use my slope. What's my slope?
4.
What is it? 4? 4 over 5. Good. So that's my rise over run. My 4, I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now have 2 points. And if I use like a straight line here. And your graph should look something like that. It looks like everyone got a positive slope, so that was good. Let's take a look at number 2. What's my intercept? Positive 3. So that means that it's going to intercept the y at positive 3 of 1, 2, 3 up here. And what is my slope? 3 over 1. Good. So that means it's up 3 over 1. And I am not going to go up. I'm actually going to go down 3 and -3. Right there. Does your graph look something like this? Thumbs up? See, like 2 thumbs. Does everyone's graph look like this? Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. I want you guys to grab your notes that look like this. The ones that are graphing linear equations. This was from Tuesday, I believe. And Ms. Song said you guys did not go over all of it. Thank you.
Do we have homework today?
I think you do. I don't think you. Where would she indicate homework?
For
Did they have homework today?
on my stamp sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your stamp sheet. Does it say you have homework? Numbers 7 through 14? Does everyone see that? You do have homework today? Probably on the graphing linear equations. Yeah. Well, the good news, we're going to be working on those together, so you'll have no excuse not to have your homework done. Okay. So I just want to refresh what you guys have covered so far, just to make sure that I'm not covering anything brand new. But I know you guys have been working on linear equations, one of my personal favorites. And we understand the, let's see, I'll write it down. We understand the slope-intercept formula, y equals mx plus b. We understand that the m is my slope. And we understand that b is my y-intercept. I believe you guys have also covered the standard form. What is the standard form? Ax plus by equals c. So, you guys understand how to identify the slope-intercept formula given a graph?
Yes.
And you also have identified, you understand how to graph it given the formula. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at standard form slopes. We're going to be looking at standard form linear equations, and we're going to be converting those to slope-intercept form so that we can graph them from there. So have you guys learned how to graph it with this yet? Graph it from the standard form? Okay. So today we're going to learn how to graph it from standard form. So let's go ahead and get started. Take a look at your notes. We're going to start on number 10. Okay, we're going to start on number 10. And before I graph it, let's take a look at the formula itself. So we have x plus 2y equals 4. And is this in slope-intercept form yet? No, not yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this like an equation where I need to solve for y, so that I can get my slope-intercept formula y equals mx plus b. The objective here is to get y by itself, just like we've solved for variables in the past with our one-step, two-step, multi-step equations. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the first couple with you guys, and then we'll do some guided practice. So the first thing that I'm going to do to get y by itself, I see that it's being multiplied by 2, and I see that it's being added to x. Now I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides of this equation as my first step to get y by itself, to isolate the y. So that's going to cancel out on this side. X minus x will give me 0. And I'm left with 2y equals. And in order to get the mx plus b, I'm actually going to put my x first and then my 4. So I have my minus x and my positive 4. So now I'm left with 2y equals negative x plus 4. Can I graph this yet?
Yeah.
I can?
No, you divide them. Divide one.
I have to divide by 2, right? So the y is being multiplied by 2. The coefficient is 2, and I need to get the y by itself. So I need to isolate that y, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Now be careful. Remember, when you divide by 2, in this case, you actually need to remember to divide everything by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives me a coefficient of 1, which means I don't need to write a coefficient next to that y. Now I'm left with negative x divided by 2. Negative x divided by 2 is the same as saying negative 1x divided by 2. I guess you can't really see that one. So in this case here, you're going to say negative half times x and then plus 4 divided by 2. Can I simplify that?
Yeah, 1 over 2.
4 divided by 2 gives me a positive 2. I'm sorry? So can I graph this?
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the graph. So I'm left with, I'm going to rewrite it on the sheet here. I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our y-intercept is positive 2. And my slope is what? I'm going to call on that. Hang on. Alyssa, what is my slope?
Negative 1.
Good. Negative 1 over 2. So that's my rise over run. Could I go down 1 and then over 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go down 1 and over 2. And I'm going to go ahead and use this to graph it. So our graph should look something like that. So let's do one more together. Let's take a look at number 11. You guys get that? All right. So small. Is that big enough up there, you think?
That's better.
Is it okay? Okay. All right. So here, you guys can use your IDs as rulers too. A straight line would be preferred. That's what a linear equation does. Yes. Okay, so number 11, I've got 3x minus 2y equals negative 6. Can I graph it like this as I see it? No, I cannot. I need to go ahead and get it into slope-intercept formula. And I need to isolate that y again. I need to get y on one side of the equation by itself. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I see that it's being multiplied by negative 2. And I see that it's being subtracted from 3x. So the 3x is positive. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3x from both sides. So I'm going to say minus 3x, minus 3x. And that's going to cancel out over here. So it's going to leave me with 2y on the left. And again, in order to get it into my y equals mx plus b, I want to go ahead and get my x first. So I'm going to go ahead and put my negative 3x first, and then my negative 6. So far, so good? Okay, so can I graph it yet? No, I need to get that y completely by itself. So right now it's being multiplied by negative 2. It's got a coefficient of negative 2. The opposite of multiply by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. So remember, I have to divide everything by negative 2. So I'm going to divide this one by negative 2 and this one. So the negative 2 divided by negative 2 cancels out. I'm left with just y. And then I've got negative 3 divided by negative 2. What does that give me? What does it give me? 3x over 2? Yes, it gives me 3x over 2. And I'm going to go ahead and write it as the fraction that I need to identify my slope. Positive 3 halves times x. And then I have negative 6 divided by negative 2. Gives me a positive 3, right? Negative divided by negative gives me a positive.
Yes.
Can I graph it like this?
Yes.
Yes. I have my y equals mx plus b. So I have my slope, I have my y-intercept. Let's go ahead and graph it. So let's go ahead and graph it. I've got my 3 as my y-intercept. And I have a slope. Now, one thing that gets tricky on this sheet, and I want to show you guys, do you understand that I could either go, yes? Okay, well, you need to wait. I could go up 3 and to the right 3 because this is both in the positive direction. But do you see that I could also go down 3 and to the left 3? Would that give me the same slope? Are you guys familiar with that yet? So I could go up 3 and to the right 3 and go off the graph. But in this case, I'm actually going to choose to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And negative to the left 2. And it's going to give me the same slope as if I had gone up 3 and to the left 3. I heard a what? What's that? Oh, I say left and I went that way? That means that it's too early and I haven't had enough coffee. Okay, so we've got our line. That was a pretty laugh. Thanks, guys. All right. Did everyone get number 11? Okay, let's take a look. look at number 12. I want you guys to work on this one with me. All right, guys. Eyes on the board, please. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Can I graph number 12 the way that it is? No. Okay. Jaylene. Where's Jaylene? Okay. What do I need to do in order to get this into slope-intercept formula? Good. X is being added to the y, and in order to get y by itself, to isolate this y, I'm going to subtract both sides by x. So that's going to leave me with y equals, and again, I'm going to put my x first so that I get my mx plus b minus x minus 2, or negative x minus 2. Can I graph this now the way that it is?
Yes.
Good. Let's go ahead and graph it. Where am I going to put my y-intercept? Negative 2. 1, 2. And what does my slope look like? Negative 1 over 1. No, that's right. I could do more points, but all you need are 2 points to graph. Good. Go ahead and take a look at number 13. Jeremiah. Where's Jeremiah? Okay. So what is the first thing that I need to do to get y by itself for number 13? Subtract 5x, right? Okay. So I've got subtracting both sides by 5x. And that leaves me with a negative y equals negative 5x minus 5. Can I graph this yet?
No.
Who said no? I like that answer. Why? Because the y is negative, right? In order for it to be a good function, the y has to be positive. So what do I need to do? I'm sorry? Divide everything by 1? If I divide everything by y, that's going to give me a 1, and it's going to get rid of my y. Do I really want to do that? Or do I divide by 1 or negative 1? If I divide everything by y, it's going to get rid of my y. It's going to turn that into a 1. What I want to do is I want to get rid of this negative. Divide by negative or multiply by a negative 1. So let's divide everything by a negative 1. And that's going to turn this into a positive y. It's going to turn my slope into a positive 5. And that's going to turn my intercept into a positive 5. Can we graph it from here?
Yeah.
All right. I'll let you guys graph it. And again, if you guys, if you don't want to go off the graph by going up 5 and to the right 5, you could go treat your slope as negative 5 divided by negative 1. Because if you remember, a negative divided by a negative will still give you a positive. So if I went down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is my rise, and negative 1, would that still give me a positive slope? Yes, it would. All right, let's take a look at one more together. Look at number 14. I'm going to call her Jocelyn. Who's Jocelyn? Jocelyn, can I graph it the way that it is on number 14? No. What do I need to do first? Good. I've got the 3y being added to 4x. I need to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract both sides by 4x. That's going to leave me with 3y equals negative 4x plus 12. Nicholas. Nicholas?
Yes.
Nicholas, can I graph it yet? I can?
No.
Okay, what do I need to do in order to graph it? Divide by 3, right, because I've got the y is being multiplied by 3, and in order to cancel out that coefficient, I need to divide everything by 3. I don't know why I couldn't make it there, sorry. So the 3 divided by 3 cancels out, and left with y equals negative 4 divided by 3. Can that get simplified anymore? And 12 divided by 3 would give me 4. Kristen. Good. So I can go ahead and graph it now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Good. So the y-intercept is at positive 4. And what do I do next?
You go down 4 and then to the right 3.
Okay. So rise is negative 4. Run is positive 3. And our graph should look something like that. I want you guys to try 15, 16, and 17 on your own. Yes. Okay.
I just did it in 20 and 21.
And then 2.
Wait, was this your homework?
Finish already?
Mandate law.
This is your classroom. All of the classrooms. homework's another sheet that you got on Tuesday. No?
Wait, what did we get Tuesday?
Oh, this is classroom, so I'm stamping for that.
Everybody's
Now, yeah, that's your homework.
Number 19.
I'm seeing a lot of good answers, guys. You guys are asking a lot of good questions.
Wait. You said, what's all?
I don't know what I put it in. What's up with this from yesterday? Wait, how does the grade look like? I lost it. Oh, okay. I put it off the grid. Yeah, it was like 10 over 8. 10 over 8. Yeah, I did my own.
That's why I'm
You want to work with the smaller stuff. You don't want to work with the bigger.
I'm going to go ahead and put the answers on the board, and then you guys can work on your classwork and homework.
Or your
Yeah. Hey, John, I think this paper, it says, in your draft. So the 7 to 10.
If you guys see me making a mistake, let me know.
You made a mistake.
I did.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so
Wait, are you doing the homework?
I'm
What if it
doing.
goes off the grid? Does it matter if I do it online? If it's 1 over 10. Yeah, boy. I agree.
Did you guys want to see the stamp sheet one more time?
No, I'm good.
Someone said yes. I'm going to show
Oh,
you.
yeah, I think it's not, I know. I need
How did I do, guys?
She got.
I gotta stop.
Remember, like, you need to do 6 problems on it, 4 problems on it.